All right, go for it.
Well, now that it's recording, I better not decide I want to leave. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. It said, it gave me the option. It's like, do you want to leave? And I was like, well, maybe I do now.
No, don't.
Yeah. So I will introduce myself and then I'll share my screen. So at that point, I might not be able to see everybody, but I am so glad to be back here tonight with you all. I had such a great time last time talking, and I just could not be more excited to share with you what it's like to be a computer scientist. And I'm going to go briefly through some videos and some demos, and then I want to answer as many questions as you have, because I want to do the best I can to make you a computer scientist, to convince you that computer science is the way to go. I am now, this is different than the last time I was with you all. I am now a professor of computer science at the University of Cincinnati. So in 4 years or 5 years, when you are ready to go to college to become engineers, look up the University of Cincinnati and we would love to have you. So I do now education mostly for computer scientists. And we do, so right now I'm teaching an introductory class to computer science, and also a computer science class that's all about the different languages you can use to write programs. So what are some languages, before we get started, what are some computer languages that you have used in the past? I know that Sophia, the last time we talked, you told me about one that you used for your robotics club. Can you tell me what it is?
I don't remember the robotics club, but is it Python?
Very good. That's exactly right. Yeah, exactly. Python is a great one. Isabel, do you have a, do you know any computer languages?
I haven't used it myself, but I know JavaScript is one.
Yeah, that's exactly right. JavaScript. Very good. Yeah, so those are two really popular programming languages now. And trust me, if Isabel, if you know JavaScript, and Sophia, if you know Python, you could get a job right now out of middle school, okay? That's how smart you are. If you know those, that's awesome. So again, my name is Will Hawkins, and I am a computer scientist. So I'm going to start my slideshow here by sharing my screen. And I just want to make sure that when I do that, you can see everything. Can you see my slide now? Okay, great. Thank you, Isabel, for the thumbs up. So who could be a computer scientist, and what do computer scientists do? Well, this is the best question in the world, I think, because look at all these awesome people, okay? All these awesome people are computer scientists. And that means, or that just gives you an example of the number and just different number of people that you can be and be a computer scientist. I think this is awesome. There are some of my closest friends on this picture and some people that I've never met before in my entire life. I don't know if you can see my cursor, but this is Admiral Grace Hopper, and she is one of the most famous computer scientists in the whole world. She came up with one of the computer languages that is still used today. She developed it in the 60s, and it is still used today, especially prominently during the pandemic when we were trying to get all sorts of government aid out to people. Her programming language was what made it possible to do that. Isn't that amazing? I think that's so cool. So you can be a computer scientist. That's the number one message. And I want you to remember that. And I don't want anyone, no matter what you think, to tell you that you cannot be a computer scientist. And I don't want anyone to say about themselves that they can't become a computer scientist. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay. So if there are questions, just go ahead and ask. Just unmute yourself and just shout out. Okay. All right. So what does it mean to be a computer scientist? That's the best part, is that a computer scientist is anyone who solves problems using a computer. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. You can solve any problem in the world, which I think is amazing. I've recently been putting together some practice problems for my students in computer science class. And one of the things that we're doing right now is we're getting them to help identify the proteins of the coronavirus. And you can download all the samples of the sequences of these proteins, and you can try to match them up. And that's what computer scientists do. I just think it's amazing. We wrote ciphers to make secret codes between each other. I just think that's amazing. And of course, we make the web, right? How cool is that? Everybody loves the internet. And don't worry, we're going to get back to something else that everybody loves that's associated with computer science later, I promise. Is there something, or is there a field that you've met in your STEM projects or in your STEM presentations that you really liked? Did you like biology or physics, or which ones did you like the best? I won't be hurt if it's not computer scientist, if it's not computer science. Go ahead, Sophia. I saw you unmute. You can't get away from me without that fast. I saw it.
Yeah, I kind of liked art.
Wow, that is so cool. You know what? So let me go back to this. This guy right here, can you see my cursor? He worked with computer science stuff, like machine learning, like lots of data, and he imported all these paintings. And he was able to write an algorithm that would take those paintings and then take a photo and make the photo in the style of those paintings. Have you ever seen the painting Starry, Starry Night? It's a very famous painting.
Yeah.
And it's got like a very stylistic, like you can pick it out of a lineup. You know, it's very cool and it has a style to it. Well, he was able to just take these pictures off of his phone and run it through this thing, and out would come a picture that looked like what he put in, but it was like Starry, Starry Night. So you can do art and computer science together. I think that's so cool. Isabel, which one did you like? I'm only picking on you two because you're the only faces I can see. So I'm sorry. I'll pick on other people too if they want to talk.
I really liked biology.
Oh, biology is so cool. You would really love this lab we're doing then with the coronavirus proteins. It is so cool. I have a friend and she's a PhD in biochemistry and she teaches too. And she's been helping me learn all this stuff about biochemistry. It is so cool. So cool. One of my students actually is a biology major and he's just taking computer science classes to learn. So he can do both together. Awesome. All right. So the best part, I think you know by now, about being a computer scientist is that you can do all these cool things in different fields, and all it's about is just solving problems with a computer. These are problems that really affect the world. Like you can, if you are a computer scientist, you can change the world. And I think that is so cool. I think that is so cool. And the best part is you can change the world by being part of any of these communities. Sophia maybe wants to be an artist. Isabel wants to be a biochemist. Beth Ann wants to be a airline pilot. That's great. We can do that and the computer science and make it all like come together. It's so cool. It's the coolest thing. All right. So what kind of problems can we solve as computer scientists? We talked about keeping data secret because we talked about doing ciphers. We talked about doing proteins and biology, and we talked about making art. But one of the other things we can do is we can keep the bad guys away, right? That's really a big thing these days. I'm sure you've heard about all this stuff, people stealing money, breaking into banks. You know, we can't get gas here and there because there's bad people. It's terrible. Well, if you're a computer scientist, you can keep hackers away from other people's private information, right? You can keep your information safe. So Sophia, when you get your allowance every week, or Isabel, when you go out and you have your business over the summer and you're, mowing lawns. I loved to mow lawns when I was a kid. I would do it for free, but I love mowing lawns. I want to keep my money. So when I put it in the bank, I want them to be safe, right? If you're a computer scientist, you can help keep them safe. One of the things that I got to do was to work on this program from the Department of Defense, where we made it so that there were robots that attacked one another, and the other end, the robots that I wrote, got to protect each other. So I'm going to show you this little video here, and it basically shows you all of these robots attacking one another. And you can see all these different things. So this is us here in the middle. This was my team in the middle, the purple one or the blue one. And these were all the attacks coming in at us, right? They were all coming in at us. And then we were attacking each other too. But the part that I got to work on was to keep us safe. So I got to defend against the attacks, turn them away, and keep our network alive, right? And that is just so cool. So you wouldn't want a bank that just shut down when they got attacked. You have to stay online. You have to keep being able to give people access to their services. And so that's one of the cool things that you could work on. I just think that's so cool. Does anybody have any questions about that?
Did you win?
You know what? That's a very good question. And I am proud to say that out of, I think, 150 international competitors, we finished second and our team made $1 million.
Great job. That's
Now, the next question is you have to ask me how much of that $1 million did I get?
I already know the answer.
Exactly right. That's exactly right. I got enough to buy a new laptop and I was happy.
That's all right.
That's all right. That's all right. Yeah. So I just think that's so cool. And by the way, if you ever go to the Smithsonian in New York City, where I used to live in Washington, D.C., you can see the computer that actually won. They took it and put it in the Smithsonian. Isn't that cool? I think it is. I'll show you a picture next time. My next presentation, I'll bring a picture. Now, this is another kind of problem that I've gotten to work on. And this I think is really, really cool. So a lot of times when there are fighter pilots and they fly these really fast planes, when they do really sharp moves, the amount of pressure on their body, they can't breathe because there's so much pressure. Like their chest is literally pushed in and they can't breathe. Well, what happens when you can't breathe? You pass out. And eventually you wake up, but you just pass out. Well, the problem is if you're in an airplane and you're the pilot and you pass out, that's kind of a bad thing. It's kind of a bad thing. Well, computer scientists realized this. And what they did was they put a system on these really fast, expensive airplanes so that if the pilot was unresponsive and they were flying towards the ground, the plane would automatically pick up right at the bottom and fly along the ground automatically until the pilot woke up. And then the pilot could start to fly the plane again. So this is a model over here on the left. What I'm showing you is a model of that system. So you can see the airplane is flying, right? And he's the airplane is flying, and then she's sort of driving, she's driving, and this video is going to recycle. Well, now the airplane is in this spin and it's going straight for the ground, but automatically right at the end, the pilot or the plane automatically detects the ground and then flies straight out. And once it starts to fly straight out, the pilot can catch her breath and she can wake up again. Now, I think that is really amazing. I think that's so cool. When I heard this, then what's even more amazing is that this actually saved people's lives. There have been confirmed cases of this saving people's lives. And this is a video of that system actually working. So this is a video from the cockpit of an airplane that actually had this happen. And the pilot passed out. And so the plane was just sort of flying around. And all of a sudden it starts going towards the ground. You can see it now. It's flying towards the ground, right? It's really scary stuff. I mean, this thing is just picking up speed. It's going straight towards the ground. The pilot is completely unresponsive. And then all of a sudden the system catches the airplane and look, it's picking up, and there it is. Now it's flying level again. And then as soon as the pilot wakes up, they take over the plane. Isn't that amazing? And that's all computer science. It's all computer science, saving people's lives. I just think that's wild, wild, wild. So cool. All right. So now, what else can we do? Well, a lot of the reason why we're doing this on Zoom and I can't be out there with you as much as I want to be, because it's, you know, it's 3 hours earlier and I'd love to have 3 hours of my life back, you know, because where I am, it's already almost 8 o'clock, by the way, just so you know. The other reason I can't be out there is because of the coronavirus pandemic. And when this first happened, we didn't know how many people were going to get sick. We needed to prepare as a country. Well, one of the things that computer scientists can do is to model the way that the virus can spread. And so what I did when this first started happening was I wrote a program that would model using a simulation, the spread of the coronavirus. And what you can see on the left is a graph that I made with my software. And then here is a graph on the right of actually what happened. And it's pretty cool because you can take the theory of what this is, of the biology behind the disease, and actually see it come out through computer science and then watch it play out in real life. So I think that's really, really cool. So we knew right here, the doctors and the nurses and all the people that were saving lives knew that they had to be ready. We had to get things ready because it was going to be bad. And when I was able to do this, I just thought that was the coolest thing in the world. I just love solving problems from different domains with the computer. I just think it's amazing. All right. And now this is the coolest thing I've seen recently. Okay. and it's going to work, and I'm going to show you, which is why I think this is so cool. Someone just wrote this application this weekend. Okay. This is an application for people who, for some reason, it doesn't matter why, cannot use a keyboard. How many of you, when you're Snapchatting with your friends, or I don't even know if we Snapchat anymore, that might be too old for that, but you know, you Instagram with your friends, or you Snap, or you whatever, you use the emojis, right? You know what I'm talking about? The big yellow face and the cowboy hat and the tears and all that stuff. Well, how awful would it be if you couldn't do emojis, right? That would be awful. So I want to show you this app because I think it's the coolest thing in the world. So I'm going to switch over to my web browser because I want to show you this running. So you'll have to forgive me for just a second while I do that. You're going to have to look at me in the screen because it's going to be a camera app. So can you see me looking at the camera now? Okay, you ready for this? This is the coolest thing. Ready? Hold on. It's going to work. This is not my application, I swear. So if it doesn't work, oh, there it is. Look, it detected a thumbs up emoji, right? So all I had to do is make the motion and it did it. Watch. Watch this. Isn't that cool? I just think that's awesome.
That's totally cool.
Isn't it?
Like it.
Yeah. So think about that. If you're someone who struggles to type for whatever reason, right? Maybe because you're visually impaired and you can't see the keyboard, or you don't have fine motor skills to be able to operate a keyboard the way other people do. Well, now I can communicate with other people. And that's just the beginning of that application. Think about, have you seen someone do sign language before? Wouldn't it be great if they could detect my hands in the screen the way it was doing the thumbs up and the palm and read my sign language and translate it so that another person who couldn't read sign language could automatically hear. I just think that's amazing. I just think that's the coolest thing in the world. All right. So now we need to talk about some of the careers for computer scientists. What can you be when you grow up? Well, I hope I've done a pretty good job of telling you that you can be pretty much anything you want to be as a computer scientist. Okay. But most people think of computer scientists as software developers, people who write software. So you could write applications for the internet. You could write them for the computer. You can write them for your smartphone or your tablet. You can put software on airplanes, cars, in factories, working with robots. I think robots are so cool. Creating tools for businesses to make things automatic. And of course, like I told you earlier, I was going to come back to it, I swear, you could make video games. People love video games. It's always definitely something out there for people. Maybe somebody like Sophia who loves art, because there's a ton of art that goes into video games. You could be a data scientist because we have all this data about people now. We have all this data about the environment. We can figure out how the environment is going to react if we do this or we do that, or maybe where that hurricane is going to go, or is there going to be an earthquake over here? We can figure all that out now. And you're the people, when you grow up, you're going to be the ones that can do all that. And the last thing we talked about, we talked about this a little bit earlier, is being a cybersecurity officer. The university that I work at just started this brand new program to teach people to be how to be cybersecurity people. And we need everyone, we need help, because people's personal information is out there. And that's very scary. Because like I said, we want things about that are private to us to stay private. But we also see real consequences when bad people attack our hospitals. You know, we rely on computers so much at hospitals to help people have babies, to keep them alive after surgery, that when we don't have those anymore, people can suffer, and we need lots of help. We need people like you. And of course, power plants. How am I going to turn the lights on? What am I going to do? My whole life revolves around electricity. I'm a computer scientist. If I don't have electricity, what am I going to do? So the bottom line is you can be anything you want as a computer scientist. And I mean that. I'm not trying to sell you anything that I wouldn't sell myself, but it is a world of endless possibilities. If you are a computer scientist, you can be anything you want. Now, one other thing that I figured you were going to ask me, but what do you have to study in college? And that's the beautiful thing about it, is you don't have to study one particular thing. Like I said, some of my students are biologists. Some of them are chemists. Some of them are English majors. They love it. They love it all. And they realize there's an intersection with computer science. And so they bring it together. I happen to study computer science and mathematics because that's just the path I chose. Again, you don't have to. But if your high school offers these type of courses, I know some do. And with smart people like you, you're going to be very advanced very quickly. So you're going to be looking at these courses, I know. So if you get a chance to take a course in logic, that would be really cool. You should definitely do that. If you get a chance to have a class, maybe in high school, about probability or statistics, definitely want to take that one too, because you are definitely, whoops, I clicked the wrong button, sorry. Because one of the big things about computer science is that we have to deal with statistics and probability a lot. That's one course I wish I had taken more of and paid more attention. Don't tell my teachers, I should have paid attention in that class. And then linear algebra, especially if you want to be a video game designer, take linear algebra. It's the cool way, it's the way the cool kids think about 3 dimensions. You can make 3 dimensions come back into this way that you can do add, subtract, and multiply and divide. And you can make these cool worlds in 3 dimensions. It's so neat. It's so neat. And then unfortunately, we make you take calculus. I was just having this conversation with a friend of mine today. I don't know why we do that, but we do. So if you get a chance, take calculus. But this is a very important lesson. Take courses in your high school and when you get to college that interest you. Again, you can take computer science and apply it to anything. I love to read. I would take an English class. I love politics. I could take a politics course and I could still do computer science. That's what I think is amazing. All right. We've come to the best part of the program where you get to ask questions. And if I have the answers, because I don't always have the answers, I can maybe give you some answers. So I see our chat is at 14. I don't know what that means. So I'm going to go back and look through and I'm going to see if there's any questions that, all right, so let's see here. Any questions? Any questions? Biology. Okay, so Isabel said biology or art. Abdullahi is glad to be here. Okay, that's awesome. Let's see, we connecting. Good. All right, so ask me questions.
Best schools for computer science.
The best schools?
Is it yours?
Well, I would fail if I didn't say it was mine, but you all are in a very lucky spot because you have a great school system and you are next to one of the best schools in the world for computer science. The University of California at Berkeley, the California Institute of Technology, UC Irvine, UC Davis, UCLA. These schools are absolutely amazing schools for computer science. Absolutely amazing, top notch. Does that help?
Yes, sir.
Good. Now, Sophia messaged me directly, and I'm gonna make sure everyone knows she was brave enough to ask a great question. And she said, what is my favorite project? What was my favorite project to work on? That's a very good question. I tend to get infatuated or fall in love with the project that I'm currently working on because it's so exciting. But I really liked working on the hacker project because I got to work with my friends and we became a really close group of people. And we were working towards a goal. Any kind of project is fun when you're working towards a goal, I think. So that was probably my favorite. Does that answer your question? Awesome. Okay. Let's see. What are the best Python projects for first-year engineering students? Oh, now we're getting some great questions. Okay, so what are the best Python projects for first-year engineering students? I think that Python is a great language to do a lot of things in. If you like robotics, Python and robotics go well together. So you could always do that. Python and what they call data science really go well together too. So you could do what they call machine learning. You could analyze data to make guesses about things in the future. But the other great thing about Python is it's really easy to write web software too. You can write websites in Python. So if you want to be in the web development business, you can write a Python web application. If you want to be in the robotics business, you can use robots with Python. If you want to be in the machine learning and the data science and understanding the world around you, you could do that too. Does that answer, Abdullahi? That was a great question from you. I hope that was a good enough answer. And let's see. I think, so Isabel asked me a great question. What language should we learn first? I think there are a number of really good languages that you could learn first. Python is what a lot of people consider to be a very good first language to learn. Another one would be JavaScript. And I only say JavaScript because you can do very quickly things that appear on the screen. And you can interact with people and make something that other people can use very easily. So that's the reason I would say that both of those are good, because you can do something right away. So Python or JavaScript. And if you send me through, I'm hesitant to call you by the wrong name. So I don't want to, your boss, the person who leads this, I don't want to call her by the wrong title. So I'm not going to say her name because I'm afraid I'll call her the wrong thing and then she'll get mad at me. So, but get in touch with me, send me an email and I will send you resources for which one to learn. You tell me what language you want to learn and I'll send you some good resources for it. Is that okay? I offered that last time and no one did it. So I'm expecting you to do it this time. All right. Well, I guess I can stop sharing my screen too, so you can see my face bigger. That's the scary part. Now you can really see my face. How's that? Is it okay? Is it okay if you get in contact with them?
Yes, I
Is that-
will. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
they received emails from me for this.
Okay.
So
All right. So you
they
can just put them in touch with me. Is that okay?
Yes, definitely.
Awesome.
And then Beth Ann, she had a couple of questions.
I know I'm getting to, I swear.
Oh, you're probably bombarded, huh? Now you asked for it.
I did. I love it. This is a great group. I love these questions. These are such great questions.
All right.
So I just didn't want to, I didn't know whether to call you Miss Atkins or I don't know how they
Oh,
refer.
Adrian is totally fine.
Okay. All right, good. I just wanted to make sure.
Yes.
What language is best for AI? 100% Python, 100% Python. That is absolutely I skipped Beth Ann's other question. I'm going to come back to it. AI and I think Python is a very in-demand language. So you could definitely get a job right now with Python. You can get a job with JavaScript. You can get a job, basically you can get a job with any language. Once you know one language, learning the next one is much easier. Learning the next one after that is much easier still. But Python is definitely the best for what they call machine learning or artificial intelligence. And there is a little bit of a difference between web developer and software or web developer, but not really. I think as long as you're talking, I think there might be a bigger distinction between developer and engineer, but only because some of the field now has split off into this thing where you are a developer, but you're also in operations. So you might go to a company that runs a big website like Google or Facebook, and they have these people called DevOps. And their job is to take the programs and get them running on the servers and make sure that the servers stay up. Like, remember a few weeks ago, or maybe it was last week, when Facebook was offline and WhatsApp was gone and Instagram was gone for like a whole day? That was their job, was to get it back online. So that's a little bit of a difference. Was that good? Was that a good enough answer for you, Beth Ann? Yeah, Daniel, JavaScript is a great one. JavaScript is a great one. Good. I think I got through them. So Miss Atkins, do you have any questions or do you want to open the floor?
I think somebody,
Oh, wait, Sophia just asked me another question.
oh, okay.
I am currently working on a bunch of projects, mostly to help my students, to help them learn. So I'm writing a bunch of projects so that they can teach themselves how to learn. And I love it. I think it's great because I get to do like what we were talking about. I get to make them interested in computer science. I get to find all these fun applications and bring them around. So like right now, I'm working a little bit on writing a search engine for the students so that they can build a search engine in their lab. Oh, great question, Miss Atkins. The difference between data science and computer science. it's a very interesting distinction because computer science teaches you how you would be able to understand the algorithms needed to analyze the data. A data scientist is the kind of person who applies those algorithms or the methods to understand the data. So you go from the computer scientist who comes up with the ways to manipulate the data, and the data scientist is the person who takes the data and those ways that we do it and mixes those together to come up with a result. Does that make sense?
Yes, great explanation. Thank you.
I think a portfolio with code is a great idea. A portfolio with code is a great idea. You can do that after you get a job. You can do it before you get a job, but it's always fun, I think, to have a side project to work on. So I'm always working on a little side project, and I just like to keep it in my back pocket. So it's always good to be able to show off to a future employer that, hey, here's what I'm working on. Which language has the most versatility? That's a good question. I think that the language of the most versatility right now is probably either JavaScript or Python. I would say probably JavaScript, but Python definitely that as well. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, yes. Sophia, great point. It is much harder to find and define. Like if I give you a picture of a cat, it is so much infinitely harder to tell for a computer to say that's a cat than it is to solve a really complicated math problem, which is the exact opposite probably of what you get in school, right? They give you these complicated math problems and you're like, oh no, my head hurts. But if you give me a picture of a Cheshire cat versus a tabby cat, well, I can do that pretty easily. That's a cat, that's a dog, right? And the computer has the exact opposite reaction. It's like, I have no idea, is that a cat or a dog or a lion or a tiger? I don't know. I don't know the difference. But a math problem I can do. So I think it's so interesting that it's backwards, isn't it? And data scientists, that's exactly what a data scientist could do, is they could take a whole bunch of data, a whole bunch of picture of cats, and teach the computer how to discover what a cat is. That's data science. Isn't that, I just think that's so cool. Analytics and computer science. So I think that analytics is a lot like data science. That's how I would classify them together. I don't know if you're into sports, but a lot of sports analytics where they decide like, oh, if I'm on the 56-yard line, I better go for, I better go for it on 4th down. Or do I want to try to hit a home run in this situation, or do I want to bunt? That's analytics. And there's a lot of computer science in that too. There's a lot of computer science in that too.
Thank you.
These are all great questions. And Miss Atkins has all my connection information, so she can put you in touch with me. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Twitter. I'm not on Facebook though. You can't find me on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Twitter. I'm on email. Whatever you want. You send me any questions you have. I would love to answer them.
Yes, well, he's on my work account and the STEM account. I have Will on both, so we go back and forth. And
I would love that.
Yeah. So because you guys can contact my personal AT&T account as well as the STEM account. Because I think I have more people talking to me on my work account, just like at work, right?
Yeah.
So,
and if you want to know questions like, where do you think I should apply for school? Should I take this class, or which language should I use? Or does this website, is this teaching me the right thing? You just tell Miss Atkins to give me my email address and I'll answer you right away.
Or some project ideas.
Yeah, exactly.
We might want to, because Sophia and Isabel are growing right before our eyes, right?
They are. They're already I recognize them, but they're much bigger than they were last time.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
they might, and Marcus is, I think,
I don't see Marcus's face, so I'm a little hard to, sorry, I
let
can't.
me see, I think
Oh, I see Marcus. I do see Marcus. You were off my screen, buddy. I'm sorry.
Marcus, are you still into computers?
Yeah, me and my team are still working on one of the apps we're doing. Yeah.
What are you working on, Marcus?
So I have two. One, I'm a Scrum Master for where we're
Yeah,
doing
baby.
like it's a website / app for underserved communities to get access to like better doctors. And then
That's so cool.
the other one, which is the one like my original group was doing, is like a 3D like room planner app. So you know how like now if you go in like Target or something, you can just like see one 3D object in your room, like how it will look.
Yep.
Well, our app will let you see like multiple and from like more than one store. Like you could plan out the whole room with 3D.
All right, you got to send me some links to that through Miss Adkins. I want to see that.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, all right. Because that's awesome.
And he was quiet, and I knew he was doing this, right?
I know, yeah, like speak up, buddy. No.
He's so quiet. But I just know that, these, just like him, he's doing projects. So somebody might have to come, because I know about Scrum Masters and Agiles and stuff like that, right? And I actually didn't like those classes. I had to take those courses at work, right? And I couldn't stand it. And it's probably because I'm trying to hurry up and gulp it down while I'm doing my regular job, right?
Job, I know.
So, but I wanted to know about your aspirations. As far as, did they like come to you to be a professor of?
Well, I knew that being a professor or being a teacher was something I always wanted to do. It was the reason I got into this. And so it was just the right time to make the transition. So yeah, it's something I've always wanted to do.
So did you want to eventually start your own company, or too much?
I just want to be a teacher.
Yes, that's great. Well, we're glad. We love to have you. We love your eagerness to want to teach the kids about computer. You make computer science fun. So
well, I hope so. Hold on. I've got two more. Sophia just peppered me with two more real quick questions before So I knew very early that I wanted to be a computer scientist. I don't know when though. I don't remember when. I really don't. I just know that like for as long as I'm getting old, and for as long as I can remember, I wanted to be around computers. I don't know why. A lot of people I know, they'll say, oh, this was when I knew I wanted to be into computer science, or, for me, I don't know. It was just sort of a long, slow thing, I think. I just enjoyed the creativity of it. And I think I still do. I think that, and you also asked me about good ways to get a head start on learning more. Honestly, I think that the best way is to, if you want to learn Python, there's two things really. One is to read and the other is to do. You have to just play with it. You're going to have to just write code and fail and write code and fail and learn as you go. It's just about practice, like anything else. You have to do it. But the beautiful thing is the internet will give you all those resources. And there's all sorts of open courses that you can do. So if I can get your email address through Miss Adkins, you send her a message and I'll send you some of those things you can look at, okay? All right, good. And Marcus, you owe me some emails.
Yes. And if you guys just get a hold of me, and then I can, go back and forth, or the older ones can reach out to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Specifically. So I'm always on here every day, all day, and looking at emails. So I'm going to find it eventually, right?
Yep.
So,
well, thank you all for having me. And I'm already looking forward to the next time I get to come back.
Oh yeah, you're totally on rotation.
Good.
Probably before, this was such a great and awesome class today. I really got a lot out of it. I hope you guys did too. We got some new people
Yeah,
that came in from Eventbrite. That's been a
that's
really
awesome.
good medium for us to get other folks
Good.
involved. But we always have the best science professors, people that are
I follow, yeah, I've noticed on LinkedIn some of the people, and it's like, man, I wish I could come to that one, but my
Yeah.
schedule sometimes doesn't allow it. And it's
Yes.
like, oh, I
I
still
know.
want to see what she's talking about, you know?
Yes, and you know what? If you ever miss one, Will, just go, I'll give you the link to our YouTube because
Oh, I didn't know you had a YouTube.
yes, we have a YouTube.
Oh, you got to send me that tonight. Send it to me as
Totally.
soon as we're done, because I want to see them.
Yes, everyone is all on our YouTube afterwards, so you can go after, because some people can't make it at this.
Yep, I
particular
agree.
time and day
Yep.
or day. So,
Yep.
but if anybody doesn't have any more questions, let us know. You might have a couple of, I'll give them a minute to,
Yeah, no problem.
I'm gonna stop the recording. Just
Okay.
leave